Okay, today we're talking about rational numbers and the number line. It's lesson 3.3 and it is on page 109 of your big book. Our essential question is, how can you plot rational numbers on a number line? Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what rational numbers are. And here's the academic definition. A rational number is any number that can be written as A over B, where A and B are integers and B does not equal 0 because you can't have 0 in a denominator ever. Decimals, fractions, and integers are all rational numbers. So basically that's the part you need to remember, okay? Integers are your counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And they're opposites, the negative, -1, -2, -3, -4. Rational numbers are those integers, those kind of counting numbers, but they're also fractions and decimals. So they're fractions, decimals, and integers. That's what makes up rational numbers, the set of rational numbers. Okay, here we go. The freezing point, so basically today's lesson is the same as yesterday. We're just including fractions and decimals also. That's it. That's the only thing that we're learning today, is how to put fractions and decimals on the number line also. Okay, here we go again. The freezing point of a liquid is the temperature at which the liquid turns into a solid when it's cooled. So in other words, when you put water in your ice cube tray, eventually it turns into ice cubes once it's cooled enough. That's the freezing point. The table shows the approximate freezing points of various liquids. Graph each temperature on a number line. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So here is our information: carbonated water. These are the liquids and these are their freezing points. Carbonated water freezes at -3/10. Fizzy lemonade freezes at -5/10. And hydrazine freezes at 1.4 degrees. That's positive. Notice there's no plus sign in front. If there's nothing, you assume it's positive. Now we need to graph them. All right, here we go. Locate each number in its relation to the nearest integer. Okay, so the first thing that they want us to do is -0.3 is the opposite of +0.3, or 3/10. 3/10 is between the integers 0 and 1. Okay, so what you do is you look at the whole number in front, and that tells you your starting point always. So it's between 0, and because it's positive in this case, it's 1. So 0.3 is between, if you're looking at a number line, 0 and 1, it's right about, it's 1/3 of the way, or 3/10 of the way, 3/10 of the way, which is right about there, if this was a number line. So -3/10 is between, once again, look at the whole number that's in front of the decimal, 0, and what's the next one in counting order? Because integers are your counting numbers. If it's negative, then the next counting number would be -1. All right, so this will help us graph. So -5/10 is between, what's this first number? 0. So we start there. And what's the next counting number? -1. The next one isn't -2 or -7. The next counting number from 0 is 1. Okay, hopefully this will start to make more sense with this example here. So 1.4, or 1 4/10, is between 1 It's not 0 anymore. There's a 1 out front. There's a 1 for the whole number. What's our next counting number? 2. So 1.4 is between 1 and 2. All right. Here we go. Next part. Let's adjust this. Okay, we want everything on the screen. There we go. Okay, graph each temperature. So, -3/10 is 3/10 below, because it's negative, it's below 0 on the number line. So we said it was between 0 and -1. So it has to be in here. Okay, the dot has to be plotted in here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Let's make our lives a little easier, and we're going to cut these in half so that we have 10 dashes instead of 5. Okay, so this is -1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10 makes a 1. So each of these dashes is a 1/10. All right. So we're going to do -3/10. So we go 1, 2, 3. And we label it. So that's where that dot goes. All right, let's try that again. Again, I'm going to cut these. So first of all, it's between 0, -5/10 is between 0 and -1. So it's going to end up in this area. Okay, that's what we determined up here is the general area it's going to end up, and then that helps us narrow it down to exactly where it belongs. So I'm going to put some extra dashes in so that they're tenths. So now I have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. And I'm looking for -5/10. So -1/10, -2/10, -3/10, -1, 2, 3, 4/10, -5/10 is right there. So I write 0 and 5/10. Remember that decimal, when you're saying it like a sentence, is the word and. 0 and 5/10. So this is -0 and 5/10. It's a whole sentence. All right. 1 and 4/10 is between 1 and 2. That's way up here. So this is the general area that our answer is going to land in. So this is, let's go ahead and make sure we have 10 dashes instead of just 5, because that makes us understand it a little better. So we have 1 and 4/10. So 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, right there. So it's 1 and 4/10, and be sure to label it. Okay, let's take a look at the back side of this page. And keep continuing with this skill. All right. City Hall is located at point 0. Where's that point? O on a map. Point 0. All right. On a map of Maple Avenue. Other points of interest on Maple Avenue are indicated by their distances in miles to the right of City Hall, which are the positive numbers, or to the left of City Hall, which are the negative numbers. So if we had a number line, as we're seeing down here, City Hall is 0. Everything to the right of City Hall is a positive distance. Everything to the left of City Hall are negative numbers. Graph each location on a number line. Okay, locate the numbers in relation to the nearest integer. So we have the city park is 3/8 of a mile. What is our... yes, in miles. There we go. That's our unit of measure. So city park is 3/8 of a mile. The fountain is, or negative 3/8 of a mile. The fountain is negative 1.5. The library is positive 1.25, and the mall is positive 3/4. Okay, so first we have to locate the numbers in relation to the nearest integers. What is it between? Well, does this have a whole number? No, it doesn't. So we're going to say 0 because there's no whole number out front. So it's between 0 and what's my next counting number? My next integer? -1. Let's take a look at this one. Do I have a whole number here? I sure do. It's -1. And then I have my fraction. So it's between -1 and what's the next counting number or the next integer? -2, because 2 comes after 1. 1 comes after 0. All right, here we go again. Do we have a whole number? Yes, we do. 1. And what's our next number? What's the next number after 1? As you're moving along the number line, it's 2. Do I have a whole number here? No, so I put a 0 down. And what's my next number after 0 on the number line? And this is positive. It's +1. All right, graph each location on the number line. So City Park is -3/8. So we've already decided that's between 0 and -1. So it's going to be in this range right here. This one, -1.5, we decided is between -1 and -2. So our answer is going to be in here. 1 and 1/4 is between 1 and 2. So our final answer is going to be in here. And 0 and 1. Final answer is going to be right over here. Okay, so let's get back to City Park. -3/8. How many dashes did they give us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's nice. That makes our lives easier because we have 8 dashes. If the number of dashes matches the denominator, then all we have to do is count. So we go 1, 2, 3 from 0 because that's the first number. You always start with the first one. And we have -3/8. All right, let's try that with this one. Our first number is -1, so we're going to start from there. And this is, so if this is the same as, this is a half right here, right halfway between -1 and -2. So -1.5 is right there, -1.5. Okay, here we have +1 1/4. So we're starting at 1 and going toward the 2. So this, if we had cut this into fourths, those would be our lines. So this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So right here is 1 and 1/4. An equivalent fraction right here, if you were counting by eighths, would be 1 and 2/8. on this same line, they're the same fraction, because this can be simplified by a factor of 2 to be 1/4. All right, and last one, 3/4. So again, I'm going to make 4 dashes instead of 8 to make our lives a little easier. So I start at the 0 because that was my first number, my first integer. And I go 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, right there. Perfect. And that's where the mall is. Okay, take a look at your notes. Okay, so rational numbers and the number line is our heading. These are our notes. These are our examples. When graphing on a number line, use the whole number to start. This is where you start, is the whole number. Then decide if it's closer to 0, or I'm sorry, closer to 2 or 3. Positive moves up one number. So 3/10 is closer to 2 than to 3. Positive moves up one number when you're doing your integers. I should write the word integer there. I'm going to change that. Integer. Negative moves down one integer. If no whole number, then you start at 0. Okay, and there's our examples, and I'm going to give you a couple of number lines to put in your notebooks as well. All right.